There's a very interesting rumour going around the Formula One paddock right now that McLaren might switch to Red Bull engines for 2026. Currently, the team are supplied by Mercedes engines and are in great form right now. Despite being a customer outfit, they're higher than Mercedes in the Constructors' Championship at the moment, being third to Mercedes' fourth, albeit Mercedes winning the last 2 rounds of the championship. But yeah, it's an interesting one, this, because, McLaren have, they extended their deal with Mercedes until the 2030 season. But apparently, because of Alpine wanting to scrap their Renault engine program and go with Mercedes engines, they are pretty nervous about there being 3 customer teams. Now, Aston Martin are going to switch to Honda power units in 2026, but Williams are going to stay there. So that would mean that currently Mercedes would have to supply McLaren, Alpine, and Williams too. Now, the team are apparently, and by the team I mean McLaren and Mercedes, are both a bit nervous about being able to do 3 customer outfits. And now I know at the moment they do have 3 customer outfits. They've got McLaren, Williams, and Aston Martin. But the difference is that obviously, the power units are going to change for 2026. They're going to be much more complex and they're going to be new as well, a new design. So Mercedes apparently are very keen to do a deal with Alpine to be their supplier for 2026. But let's have a look at some of the quotes here. So Toto Wolff, the boss of Mercedes, said the following, and I quote, "Only when they have taken the strategic decision of whether they want to continue their engine program or not, we would dive into our agreements." That's referring to Alpine. So if Alpine go and say, we don't want to have our Renault engines anymore, Mercedes, please help us out, then I think there's a genuine chance that Mercedes might bin off McLaren. There might be some sort of exit clause in that contract. After all, to be frank, McLaren are showing Mercedes up right now. They're a Mercedes customer team, but they're doing better overall. I mean, yeah, they've not won as many races as Mercedes. Mercedes have won 2 compared to McLaren's 1, but McLaren are hunting down Ferrari for second in the championship at the moment. Mercedes are a distance off. Now, the boss of McLaren, Zak Brown, has admitted that he has visited the Red Bull power unit factory, which is going to be rebranded as Ford for 2026, and there's a bit of an American connection there, obviously, between them and Ford too there. And obviously, not McLaren, they're British, but I mean Zak Brown, obviously. So, Zak Brown has said the following, and I quote, "I have a great relationship with Ford CEO Jim Farley. We met last year and then visited the factory. That was before we decided to extend our contract with Mercedes." So again, it's an interesting one because, McLaren don't want to be a customer team. I know they'd still be a customer team with Ford, but realistically, they're only going to win a championship. Likely going to win it. I mean, they could win one with Mercedes engines, to be fair, but more than likely, they are going to have to be a works team. Now, if they go with Ford, they're not necessarily going to be a works team because it's Red Bull's engines still. So that wouldn't be solving the problem in that sense. Maybe they could be on equal footing as Red Bull, but effectively, even though they're going to be branded as Ford engines, they will be Red Bull engines because Red Bull are going to make them just with a Ford badge and some Ford help. So effectively, they will still be a customer team even if they go to Red Bull/Ford. And Automotor und Sports, I always struggle to say that for some reason, the German newspaper, however, has claimed that Zak Brown has been in touch with the Red Bull's unit since then. And Brown, who has been highly critical of Red Bull's boss Christian Horner, that might sour some relations there too. So there's a chance it could happen, but personally, if I'm being honest, I don't really see it. But we'll have to see. I would be very nervous if I were Williams though, because I think there's a chance that if Mercedes are going to bin off one of their teams, it's potentially going to be them. But we'll see, guys. What do you guys think? McLaren going to go to Red Bull engines? Will Mercedes continue to supply them from 2026 onwards? Let us know in the comments below. And for much more news and opinions on the world of motorsport and Formula One, keep it tuned here to the F1Chronicle.com.